Governor, will you raise your right hand? I, Hugh Carey,
I, Hugh Carey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Governor
the duties of the office of Governor
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
Thank you. Mario, this group likes short speeches. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, Dick Brown. Matilda? I never did this side.
I, Mario M. Cuomo,
I, Mario M. Cuomo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lieutenant Governor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lieutenant Governor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you very much. You do it better than I do.
My last official act.
And how good it is tonight to see so many faces who are joined with us again in this moment of great importance. I know how timid I was and frankly how nervous when I stood in this room in 1974 on the eve of 1975, and I had reason to be, because I had no sense of what was before us except that I knew that I was surrounded by good friends and that I had the opportunity to lead a great state. On the following day and days thereafter, I really began to wonder with Sam what was going to fall on us next. But through the last 4 years, I've gained a great deal of friendship, knowledge, help, and support from all of you who are in this room. And I know that my family and I, who are gathered tonight, are very grateful for the friendship that you've given us and the warmth of your feeling toward us. So tonight is not a repeat occasion. There's no sameness about it. The thrill is even more, because now that I know how great are the people of the state of New York, I feel more honored, more privileged, more gratified to hold this office for the next term. And to show that I'm a Democrat, and I am, strongly feeling the thrill of being the first in 40 years to be reelected in my party, it's a pretty good team. It's a very good team. Mario and I were discussing today that out in Hillcrest and Queens, New York City, the country county, little school, and it grows people who aspire to public office. So here is the governor, lieutenant governor, and Basil Paterson, our Secretary of State to be, all from one little school, showing a developing institution named St. John's can really put forth a good ticket. Tonight's the night when, on the eve of 1979, we have cause to celebrate. And my particular cause to celebrate is that we now have a real opportunity to perform without crisis, to welcome the challenge, to be compassionate, concerned, and never content. Never content. Because as long as there's still one more day's work to be done, we're going to do it with your help. Thank you, and God bless you. I have not heard from you, Mario, in at least 5 minutes. So help me God.
This takes me by surprise, Governor, because I heard in Utica that someone asked what was the role of the lieutenant governor to be, and the suggestion was that the lieutenant governor ought to think of himself as the body at an Irish wake. It is necessary to have you in order to have the party, but they don't expect you to do a great deal. And I'm hoping that to the extent that I disillusion that expectation, it will be for the good of the state. I regard myself as very, very lucky to be here tonight. I had my first chance at public service 4 years ago after having lost in a race where I was trying to win that opportunity. It was given to me by Governor Carey. I will be eternally grateful for that start. He made it possible for me to lose in 1974, and he made it possible for me to win this year. And I'm grateful to him on both counts, and I'm looking forward to serving 4 years as an aid to his effort. Thank you very much.
From the state capitol in Albany, the inauguration of Governor Hugh L. Carey. In the Assembly chamber on the third floor of the Capitol, more than 1,000 dignitaries, elected officials, and citizens at large have been gathering to witness Governor Carey's second inaugural. The Special Sergeant-at-Arms has been announcing the entrance of special guests and officials. The Sergeant-at-Arms for the inaugural is chosen by the governor. He is Donald Neinstein of Geneva, Ontario County. Mr. Neinstein is a high school teacher and was 1978 campaign coordinator for Governor Carey in Ontario County. Members of the State Assembly and Senate are in attendance for the ceremony. The desks that are usually in place for regular sessions of the Assembly have been removed for the inaugural to make room for more seating. New York's congressional delegation will witness the inaugural, as will the members of the Board of Regents and the 7 justices of the Court of Appeals. The inaugural ceremonies will be conducted by the Secretary of State, Basil Paterson, who took the oath of office in ceremonies this morning in the Red Room at the Capitol, will administer the oath of office to both Lieutenant Governor Mario M. Cuomo and Governor Carey. Mr. Cuomo, of course, presided at the governor's first inaugural in 1975 when he was Secretary of State. Everyone is seated in the Assembly chamber awaiting the entrance of Governor Carey, who will be introduced by the Sergeant-at-Arms. Governor Carey is New York's 51st governor and is the first Democrat to be returned for a second term as governor of the Empire State since Herbert Lehman. He is 59 years old and the father of 14 children. His wife, Helen Owen Carey, died in 1974. Governor Carey was returned to office by a 250,000 vote margin in November.
Sergeant-at-Arms will please close the doors. those present, please come to order. The Most Reverend Theodore McCarrick, Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese, will deliver the invocation. Mr. McCarrick.
Let us pray. Father, the story of your involvement in history is filled with examples of the great love that you have for your creation. Having come from your hand, we, your creatures, still enjoy the comfort and security of that hand. We derive our courage and strength from your promise to be with us always. Father, look upon all gathered here today. On this occasion, we acknowledge that your sustaining love has enabled us to fashion in this relatively new land of ours a system of government which is a blessing and a source of hope for the entire world. Today we praise you for the freedoms we enjoy, for the opportunities that are open to us, and for the ability to express ourselves without undue fear and anxiety. Father, we know that at times we fail to assure that all people have an equitable share in the basic and fundamental freedoms and opportunities which are guaranteed to everyone. Forgive your people and grant us the openness we need to admit failures and the generosity and courage required to correct them. Finally, Father, enable our governmental leaders to be men and women of integrity, vision, and sensitivity, so that they may guide your people prudently and compassionately. Look with kindness upon your son, Hugh Carey, who once again assumes the noble privilege and awesome responsibility of caring for the people of this, our Empire State. Also look upon Mario Cuomo, Edward Regan, Robert Abrams, and Basil Paterson, who today undertake their new and challenging responsibilities. May they, the staff, and the entire administration praise you in times of joy and sorrow, in successes and in failures, in celebration and in mourning. May they feel your power in their lives, and may the divine wisdom which sustains all life be shared with them. And we ask this from you, Father, the Lord of all, the source of life, who lives and reigns both now and forever and ever. Amen.
Will you please join in the singing of the national anthem? Rabbi Baruch Silverstein, President of the New York Board of Rabbis, will read from the Scriptures.
O God, Father of humanity, on this Inauguration Day, we pray for the welfare of our historic state and for the well-being of our distinguished governor. To win an election indicates popularity, respect, and confidence. To win a re-election implies admiration and reverence, public approbation, and personal affection. Governor Hugh Carey stands on this solemn day endowed with all of these qualities, possessing all of these blessings, and vested with a stature of national prominence. May these proud attainments bring added strength and courage to our beloved leader. May he be humbly aware of these blessings as he wrestles with the serious problems facing our state and our society. May God bless Hugh Carey with good health and happiness, with undiminished energy and enthusiasm, with a sense of personal fulfillment and success in all his endeavors. Amen.
Mrs. Cuomo will hold the Bible as the new Lieutenant Governor takes the oath of office. Would you place your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, Mary? I, Mario Cuomo,
I, Mario Cuomo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lieutenant Governor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Lieutenant Governor
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. And now, Nancy Carey will hold the Bible as Governor Carey takes the oath of office. The governor will deliver his inaugural address after taking the oath, and at the conclusion, he will present the official pen and gavel to Donald Carey on behalf of the family. Nancy, Governor. Governor, place your hand on the Bible and raise your right hand. I, Hugh L. Carey,
I, Hugh L. Carey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Governor
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Governor
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Governor.
Bishop Hubbard, Rabbi Silverstein, Dr. King, and my 8th grade teacher, Sister Mary Morris. Lieutenant Governor Cuomo, Secretary of State Paterson, members of the Senate and the Assembly, Senator Moynihan, members of the House of Representatives, judges of the Court of Appeals, members of the Board of Regents, Controller Levitt, Controller Regan, Attorney General Lefkowitz, Attorney General Abrams, distinguished guests and friends and my fellow New Yorkers, today I extend to the people of New York State a welcome to the inauguration not only of a governor, but of a new era of opportunity in the history of the greatest state in the nation. I am humbled for the honor bestowed upon me and filled with a sense of the history of this office and this place. To me, it's a very special day. I stand where Alfred E. Smith transferred the reins of government to Franklin D. Roosevelt a half-century ago today, and the record of their leadership still sustains us. I have been privileged to follow in their footsteps and to lead New York through a period filled with crises when we faced unprecedented challenges without losing our unique heritage of concern and compassion. We brought our government under control, balanced our budgets, preserved our cities, reduced the crushing burden of taxation that had darkened our hope for economic growth and our well-being. We put our financial house in order. We were tested in adversity, and we emerged from that ordeal with a new strength and courage from which we derive a new capability of leadership. In those times of stress, we proved worthy of our stewardship. From the stony soil left to us, we were able to reap a harvest from forgotten seeds. Now, with confidence, we can say to those who share our aims and aspirations, look to New York for leadership. Let other states look to New York as they struggle with the problems we have confronted. We have learned to live with limits and constraints without sacrificing aid to those who need it. Let a national government that seeks to curb inflation instead of causing it look to New York. We have held the growth of state spending below the rate of inflation. We have ensured that government will no longer be a growth industry in New York State. We have set the example for cutting costs and taxes. Let business and labor look to New York, not for hindrance or favor, but for a new partnership to generate the private sector jobs that are the mainstay of a vigorous economy. We will make New York competitive in the national marketplace. Under Al Smith, Franklin Roosevelt, and Herbert Lehman, we in New York built a national model of laws to protect the rights of working people. We dare not, we will not turn our backs upon that legacy. We must understand today that a state that does not protect the productive jobs of its people is a government indifferent to social justice. Let those who would not pander to a climate of fear look to New York. We shall stem the tide of violence in our streets without resorting blindly to the ultimate acts of violence. We have enacted the toughest set of anti-crime laws in this state's history. We've begun the reform of our criminal justice system, not only in the way we choose our judges, but in the way we administer justice. We will swiftly punish the guilty, yet give troubled youths an alternative to a life of crime. Today, we begin a year of preparation for a new decade. The people of New York are a special breed. When we cope with crisis, our people met the test with fortitude, determination, and goodwill.
I stand before you today with pride in that performance and admiration for the courage of the people of New York State. They have proven that New York, a leadership state, was equal to any challenge. Now we turn to the challenges ahead. Against the chronic ills of our society, let us bring to bear the same intensity of purpose and determination that sustained us in crisis. We must say to our families, young and old, you are important to us. We are concerned about your health, your security, your dignity. We will run our schools so your children, gifted or needy, can find a path to excellence and achievement for every child in this state. We must say to women, to blacks, to Hispanics, Native Americans, and all New Yorkers, we will assure you a fair chance to share the rewards and opportunities of a free society. As we improve our health care services by cutting costs, providing community care, and offering protection against catastrophic illness, we must say to all New Yorkers, you have a right to health care you can afford. These are the challenges of the new leadership we begin today. This is the International Year of the Child. There is much to be done for the generations to come. Our forebears leveled forests to build cities. We are setting aside pine barrens and wilderness areas to preserve our state's natural treasures. Past generations harvested the rivers and the bays. We are cleansing the waters so they will yield again. I pledge today this work of protection of our environment will continue. Some of the duties of leadership I speak of today are a governor's alone. He must set the priorities, voice the conscience of a compassionate people, uphold the principles that bind our moral fabric. I welcome that task, and I shall live up to the faith you placed in me. But as I undertake it, I shall welcome, too, the judgment, experience, and friendship of my new partner in government, Lieutenant Governor Mario Cuomo. When national policies, harshly applied, threaten to undo the progress we have achieved at such cost, indeed, the very progress that assures our future prosperity, we shall speak out. For no government can stand alone. We shall ask the federal government to do its share. We shall urge our legislature, with its leaders, tried and new, to put aside partisan differences. We shall encourage local governments to follow our example. We shall draw upon the local government experience of our new controller, Ned Regan, and Attorney General Robert Abrams. We shall enlist the voluntary, the religious, and charitable spirit of our people as we seek to nurture the leaders of a new generation. For ours now is a new courage, a new resilience, and a unity of purpose that befits our heritage as a revolutionary state. Ours is a state with a special place in history. New Yorkers have long understood what unity can achieve. They understood 200 years ago when they took up arms to create a nation. They knew when they fought to preserve a splintered federal union. 50 years ago, Franklin Roosevelt spoke of the constancy of our purpose. He said, and I quote, "Were I as wise as Solomon, All that I might propose or decide would be mere wasted effort unless I have your constant support. Through depression and war, he showed what government and the people could do together. In the past 4 years, we pulled together, you and I. We proved wrong those who scoffed and said, New York is tired, old, and threadbare. Its time is past. I say New York will never be old. And I say as well that in every generation we will be able to say, I love New York. As this administration begins a new term with a new team and a renewed determination, I too ask for that staunch support so essential to the trials ahead. No longer prisoners of the past, we will forge together a future of leadership, of growth, and of pride in our great state. I feel a new vitality growing in New York, a source of strength and leadership as we move toward the new era of opportunity we begin today. As we go forth, may God, who has sustained us in our adversity, bless us with the care and guidance that are the essence of his charity. I leave you now with that prayer and a fond wish for the happiest of New Years. Thank you and God bless you.
The next event in the inaugural ceremony is the presentation of the official pen and gavel to a member of the Carey family. Donald Carey, who was vice chairman of the governor's 1978 campaign, will receive them from his father. The pen represents that used to sign the document attesting to the oath of office. The gavel is a symbol of authority.
The Reverend Martin Luther King, Sr. will lead us in our benediction.
I think I know what my assignment is. Sometimes I object and go on and do what I want to do. I think I'm old enough. Having stood behind these book boards for almost 63 years as a pretty good Baptist preacher, I think I've earned the right to just use 2 minutes that you didn't ask me to take. Well, has it been said by one, great men need not that we praise them, the need is ours to know them. All over this world, almost around the world, I met some people that is good to know, and I look upon them as great people. But among those I have met and learned to admire and love as your governor of this state, I was glad to spend 2 days, I think, in campaigning that he might be reelected. And I'm not a good loser. I don't lose much. I'm glad to see Chip Carter here. Lift your hand, Chip. I can truthfully say his daddy is one of the best friends I have in the world. The chieftain of our country. I'm glad to be a Democrat. could change and vote man if it was necessary and still remain a Democrat. But let me close by leaving this thought on you, and then we shall have the benediction briefly. The story goes that an old doctor, country doctor, he had no degree. He made his medicine, and people came up in wagons. We had no automobiles in those days, to be treated by this old doctor. And the folks that he treated got well. Therefore, he was a great doctor. No matter how many degrees one may have, if he's a doctor and all the folks die where he's practicing, he's a bad and poor doctor. One Saturday they went up to see the old doctor and he wasn't there. People stood amazed, bothered, disturbed, and worried, wondering where the old doctor had gone. An old man came by, being very brutally in his speech. They asked him if they could tell him where the doctor had gone. And he said, "Read the sign." He walked on. They still stood there amazed, bothered, and worried. Finally, the old man came back. And I think he went down the road, then he must have met that sure enough man who touched him evidently. He came back, he was more kind, lovely, and friendly spoken. Said, "People, I told you to read the sign. If you look right on the side of the door, the sign will tell you, read it, it'll tell you where he's going." I'm leaving mine all over this country and all over this world. I hope you're leaving yours. They're going to come asking for you, and you won't be there. And old Dr. Sign read thus: "Still in business, just moved upstairs." That's yours and mine one of these days. Now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace now and always. Amen.
Governor Carey and his family will remain in the Assembly chamber to witness the swearing-in of Attorney General-elect Robert Abrams and Comptroller-elect Edward Regan. Later this afternoon, the governor will join the hundreds of additional inaugural guests who have been watching the ceremony on closed-circuit television in the convention hall of the Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller Empire State Plaza just across from the Capitol in Albany. The governor will meet many of those gathered personally before retiring to the executive mansion to continue working on his State of the State message, which will be delivered to a joint session of the legislature in this same chamber on Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This coverage of the second inaugural of Governor Hugh L. Carey was produced by the Executive Chamber Press Office through the facilities of the New York Network, a service of the State University of New York. Inauguration Day, 1979, in the Capitol at Albany. Governor Hugh L. Carey entered a packed Assembly chamber to take the oath of office for his second term. Governor Carey is New York's 51st governor and the first Democrat to be returned for a second term since Herbert Lehman. In his inaugural address, the governor called on the rest of the nation to look to New York for leadership.
We were tested in adversity, and we emerged from that ordeal with a new strength and courage from which we derive a new capability of leadership. In those times of stress, we proved worthy of our stewardship. From the stony soil left to us, we were able to reap a harvest from forgotten seeds. Now, with confidence, we can say to those who share our aims and aspirations, look to New York for leadership.
Lieutenant Governor Mario Cuomo also took the oath of office from Secretary of State Basil Paterson, who himself was sworn in earlier in ceremonies at the Red Room in the Capitol. While about 1,000 spectators watched the proceedings in the Assembly chamber, about 2,000 more inaugural guests watched the live action on television in the Empire State Plaza Convention Hall. Controller Ned Regan and Attorney General Robert Abrams took their oaths of office in the Assembly chamber following the formal inaugural proceedings. And then the governor and lieutenant governor, with their families, went to the Empire State Plaza Convention Hall to greet many of those who had braved the rainy first day of the year to come to Albany for the inaugural. Governor Carey will reappear in the Assembly chamber on Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for his annual State of the State message to the state legislature. This report has been prepared by the Executive Chamber Press Office and distributed through the New York Network, a service of the State University of New York.